On version 1.19, these new items were introduced, the goat horns. As you can see here, the cooldown is of about 6 seconds, which we have to wait until we sound the horn again. These horns can be heard from a long distance. According to the Minecraft wiki, it's of 256 blocks. If there is another player within this distance and we blow the horn, that player will be able to listen to it. Currently in the game there are two ways to obtain the horn. The first way is waiting for a goat to hit a natural block and drop the horn, and the second way is heading to a pillager outpost and finding it there. For starters, to find a goat we must head to the biome where they naturally spawn. For example, these snowy mountains. Goats can have both horns, one horn, or no horn at all. Naturally, these mobs tend to ram other entities. But sometimes they miss, and they may hit one of these blocks and drop a horn. Just remember there are two types of goats, normal goats and screaming goats. There are various types of horns, and normal goats will drop the following four. The first one is Ponder, Sing, Tick, Feel. Let's remember that screaming goats are only 1 out of every 50 goats, so the next 4 horns are a bit more difficult to obtain. The first one is Admire, Call, Yearn, and Dream. The second way to obtain them are finding a pillager outpost, so we must enter and head to the top part. Here we will find a chest, and this will always contain one horn. Of course, this horn can only be Ponder, Sing, Seek and Feel, the normal goat's horn, and it will never contain one of the 4 horns pertaining to the screaming goat. Now we are going to take advantage from one of the mechanics involving these goats. These goats tend to ram any entities or any observers that are not currently observing them, or they are showing their backs. Something like this. And they will not only seek mobs to hit, but also armor stands, which if left enough time, they will be hit. First you will see them lowering their head, and then ramming. So the range in which the goats will fix their objectives is from 4 to 16 blocks. They make one attempt each 30 to 300 seconds. But screaming goats are a bit different. Their cooldown is from 5 to 15 seconds, so yeah, they attack a lot more frequently. If the goat misses its objective, and instead they hit a natural block, or a natural type block, they will drop a horn. So the natural blocks we have are the coal ore, copper ore, emerald ore, iron ore, logs, packed ice, and stone. Now with the previous information, we can make use of it to build a farm, to obtain the gold horns, which is the one you can see at my back. As you can see, this goat has no horns left, and the farm is the one you see here. You can see down here, this is the simple redstone circuit, and you can see the goat applying up its weight on the pressure plate, activating the circuit, which is elevating the stone block, and this one will break the goat's horn when it attempts to ram against the armor stand. You can see this hall is only 1 block wide and 16 blocks long, which is the distance the goat needs to make the armor stand its objective. We will also see when it applies its weight into the pressure plate, this circuit will activate, which is only these 4 pieces of redstone connected to this block, over which a sticky piston is placed. In this front part, we have hoppers which will collect the horn, and just over it, a hopper minecart. So we just must wait until the goat rams against the armor stand, then the stone block will elevate, breaking the horn, and the minecart with hopper will collect it. And the hoppers will finally transport the horn towards the chest. So here you can see it lowering its head, then ram against the armor stand, and the block will elevate, stopping the goat. Well, first I want to show you the occult characteristic of this mechanism. So as you saw earlier, just over the hopper that collects the goat horn, there is a minecart with hopper, which is to be placed just in front the elevating stone block. In front of the block you will see the hopper, and here is where the hopper minecart will be placed. So we place the block, there a rail, over it the minecart. We break the rail and the block, and that's where the minecart goes. Now over here we place two blocks. Just over it, a piston. We activate it, move the lever, and we remove all the rest. And that way the hopper minecart is placed underneath. Perfect. Any item that drops over here is going to be observed instantly and then headed to the chest. So this mechanism will avoid the horn flying off. Now that this goat has no horns left, because it already passed through the process, we will remove it and take it to another pen. I recommend to have separate pens for the dehorned goats and for the horn goats. What you do with these later is up to you. So we leave this one here and then go with a goat that still has his horns. So we place it here, close the gates, and then we come over here and wait. There, we see the goat lowering its head, but sometimes it misses, so we have to wait a bit more. Attempt number 2, and we see it hit the block, and if we head down to the chest, we see the goat there. It worked. So now the goat still has one horn left, so we will leave it there. Something else we must remember is that once the goat drops its horn, the next horn it drops it will be exactly the same type. So in this case, the other horn will also be sick, as you can see here. This farm has a very simple design, so we just have to bring the goat here and wait until it drops both horns. We can also AFK or just be around the area and then come later to check. So what if we want multiple goats and we want to obtain a lot of horns? But remember, this farm is modular and we just have to place one beside another, and in each of these halls place a goat. And just make this arrangement, and where all the hoppers are connected to the same chest over here. Finally, all the horns will arrive at the same chest. So we just place one goat on each of these halls and wait. Another thing I want to check with you are the designs over here. Remember that the requisite is that this hull just needs to be one block wide, and it doesn't necessarily have to be made of glass. I built it out of glass so you can see it through, but the design can have different textures. In this first one we can see the walls are made of trapdoors. I know they're a bit more expensive, but they can also be made out of planks or any type of wood. Maybe because this goes with the decoration of your base. Remember that when the trapdoors are open, they look like walls, and they will let the goat confine within this one block wide hull. One small problem is that a lot of mobs interpret these trapdoors as if they weren't blocks, so they always try to walk through them as they were empty space, so sometimes they are temporarily trapped over here. But if you wait long enough, this design still works. Now, this final design is the one that doesn't always work. Remember that fences aren't full blocks, and sometimes the horn just flies over one of the sides. So as you can see here, fences don't allow for one block wide halls. It actually is a bit wider. Yeah, sometimes the horn ends up on one of the sides, and the system isn't able to collect it. So yeah, the system works, but sometimes there are going to be losses. And if 5 minutes pass, the horn will despawn. And well, here is a simple design for goat horns. It is simple to build and it is not expensive. This has been BigBrother161, and remember, I will be watching.